There's a food pantry on campus that fills a huge gap.
As the holidays near, incidents of thefts on campus increase. We tell you what you can do to stay safe.
A new theater club is launched, and they have ambitious plans in mind.
Plus, we talk with AUSA President Livvy Knott about her experience at the recent North American Division's year-end meetings.
AU News starts right now.
This is AU News.
Hello, and thanks again for joining us for another AU News. I'm Caitlin Calhoun.
And I'm Nolan Roy. AU News is produced jointly by the Intro to News Production and News Editing classes in the Department of Communication. Next week, we celebrate Thanksgiving in the U.S., but for some international students on campus, they're thankful year-round. Last year, the campus-based Pantry donated over $250,000 worth of food to students and their families. Here's Gabriel Imbert with more.
For the past 35 years, God's Abundant Pantry has provided fresh food to struggling students and their families.
It really helps you to supplement your food, and it also helps to supplement your income.
Chuck Peck has been working at this pantry for 2 years. He works as co-manager with Roger Pickell to keep the supplies stocked.
The awareness of the pantry is becoming more pervasive in the student body. We have flour, we have wheat flour and cornmeal, rye flour, and we also have rolled Mexican flour.
Patricia Ramirez relies on the pantry.
As a student, here in Berrien Springs is difficult because you don't have money.
Seminary and graduate student Maria Jankovic and her husband are both from Siberia and are supporting themselves.
To be self-sponsored is pretty hard. We have 3 kids. 2 of them are in school. So to have, that's the first thing you need to provide. That's the food for us and for kids. The pantry give us every Tuesday and Thursday very good quality of food, and it's different kinds. They try to have enough for everybody and the same kind.
Peck says he's proud the pantry can serve these students because these students will end up serving others.
Now they're going out, they're past this phase of their life and are able to be productive citizens of whatever country that they go to.
This is Gabriel Imbert for AU News.
The pantry is funded in large part by the Pioneer Memorial Church.
As we near the end of the semester, personal property thefts tend to rise. Lucero Castellanos fills us in on how to stay safe these coming weeks.
It's that time of year when Campus Safety Director Dale Hodges sees crime on campus shoot up.
I think that's directly associated to students who are finishing the semester or finishing their studies before the break. And during the build-up or the day before Thanksgiving break and the day before Christmas break, the personal property thefts go up significantly on campus. And historically we've seen, especially in the dorms, that the students leave their dorm rooms open, they leave them unlocked, they've got their personal property and effects all gathered up together, and they're loading it back and forth to their vehicles. And unfortunately, others take advantage of that situation.
Hodges said that we are on a generally safe campus, but this can give students a false sense of security.
Don't leave your vehicle unlocked with your purse sitting on the seat. Don't leave your GPS sitting on the dashboard or attached to the windshield when your vehicle's unlocked.
Another issue Hodges wants to get across is this.
Anyone should be aware of their surroundings, and they should be looking and seeing who's their neighbor and what's their environment like.
Hodges shares that one of the biggest issues on campus is pedestrian accidents.
I think that generally speaking, the students here on campus, we see that a lot, especially at our intersections with the pedestrian and bicycle traffic, where you'll have a student that's hurrying to class, but they've got earbuds in, they're checking something on their phone, or they're reading. They've got their arms full, and they're not really paying attention to their surroundings, and they're certainly not looking before they enter traffic at the crosswalks.
He cautions that we should make sure we're paying attention to not just traffic, but who's in our vicinity at all times. This is Lucero Castellanos reporting for AU News.
The AU Theater Wing is one of the newest clubs on campus this semester. Last Saturday, they performed a reprisal of The Importance of Being Earnest. I recently talked with the members of the club to find out what they have in store for us.
Last April, a group of Andrew students put together a production of the charming dry humor play, The Importance of Being Earnest.
I was Miss Prism. It was an awesome role to play.
What I liked about being in The Importance of Being Earnest is acting. I've always enjoyed it. I've always loved being on stage. It kind of actually helped me grow as a person to not be so insecure, not be so self-conscious.
2 months ago, the AU Theater Wing began casting and rehearsals for the spring production of My Fair Lady.
There are going to be a lot of new things, such as a chorus and people dancing and choreographing and things that were not involved in The Importance of Being Earnest.
Some hoops that we had to jump through starting the club. The main thing that we had to figure out was a sponsor.
It's hard enough to accomplish something big and difficult on its own, but it's even harder to do that when no one really thinks you're capable.
The AU Theater Wing partnered with Andrew's Architecture Department to hold a competition for the best set design for My Fair Lady.
To the ascot scene, and then the other walls are going to be hiding behind it, and then the light is going to be focused in the front.
This is Caitlin Calhoun reporting for AU News.
The club needs to raise $12,000 by March 1 to be able to stage My Fair Lady. So far, they've raised just more than half. For more information, you can contact them at autheaterwing@gmail.com.
AUSA President Livvy Knott attended the North American Division's year-end meetings in Silver Spring, Maryland earlier this month. She sat down with Lucero Castellanos for this in-depth interview.
Hi, Livvy. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Lucero. Good to be here.
You attended the NAD year-end meeting that took place at the start of this month. So talk to us a bit about what this meeting is.
So the North American Division year-end meeting, NAD for short, North American Division. To explain that, I need to recap a little bit of church structure. So as you know, like most Adventists are involved in a local congregation. That local congregation or local church is supported by a conference. So for instance, Pioneer Memorial Church is a local congregation in the Michigan Conference. Then all the conferences are supported by a union. So PMC, Michigan Conference in the Lake Union, and then several unions make up a division. So there are several unions in the North American Division, which is where we are. So NAD year-end meetings, or North American Division year-end meetings, is a gathering of all the conference presidents, the union presidents, the NAD president and his executive team, also university presidents, like Dr. Andreasen was there, and now student association presidents.
So the student delegates were given the opportunity to vote for the very first time. Talk a bit about what this means to you.
Yeah, that is huge. That is huge. And I really am eager for people to understand that this is a big deal. Last year, Jonathan Jacobs, AUSA president, as well as the other student government presidents from all the colleges and universities in North America, all the Adventist ones, they were invited to attend NAD year-end meetings. And they were given the opportunity to speak, but not to vote. This year, they voted before we got there, because a lot of us just got in late. They voted that they would give the Student Association presidents full voice and vote at this year's NAD year-end meeting. But also, at the end of the session, they voted to give the Student Association presidents full voice and vote forevermore, as long as the Student Association president is a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The reason why I think this is such a big deal is because you remember I talked about how the presidents of the unions come and the presidents of the conferences. Also, their treasurers and their secretaries come, but they're not given voice and vote. So to give students who may or may not care about the church in their normal daily lives full voice and full vote, to have them full delegates to this, is a huge deal. And it's saying that the church is willing to invest in their young people.
So one of the reports at the meeting was from the Summit of Young Adult Retention and Involvement. What are the highlights of this report?
So, yeah, I think it was in middle of October sometime. Union College invited representatives from all the different colleges and universities to come out for this Summit for Young Adult Retention and Involvement. From our university, Jason Shockey went. He's the executive secretary for AUSA. So what they talked about at that summit and what was presented was this piece of paper, which has kind of a summary of the report from that summit. And the summit was trying to answer these 4 questions. Number 1, why are young adults staying in the church? Why are young adults leaving the church? What do young adults need from the church? And what are young adults willing to give the church? So Debbie Pinto, the United Student Movement president at Union, she gave this report. And so the answers in here are here. If you want to see the full report, you can go to our AUSA website, and that is weareausa.org/summit, and you can find the full report there and see if you agree or disagree with what they thought the young adults of the church needed.
So was there anything else that you wanted to add?
All the student presidents that were there, we were all so grateful. First of all, of course, to be given full voice and vote, because that meant a lot to us. But I know the meeting started Thursday night, and most of us got in Thursday night, and so our first meeting was Friday morning. And when we walked into the meeting, the NAD Secretary, Alex Bryant, he was giving a report on some statistics from the North American Division. And one of the statistics, which you probably know, is that a lot of the young adults are leaving the church. And so he was showing these, and we were just seeing these numbers. And somebody just came up to the mic and said, Elder Bryant, these statistics are sad. Can we stop right now and pray about the young people in our church? And so we did. That's exactly what we did. And everyone prayed that the church really would reach out and take seriously and figure out how to show the young adults that, like, the Adventist church is this beautiful thing, to show them that Christ is this beautiful thing, so they wouldn't walk away. And so, yeah, I'm just eager for people to understand that if ever they think that the church is this anti-youth, anti-whatever, I wish that everybody could have been there and seen just the way that they were so embracing of young adults as a concept, but also just personally of all the student presidents that were there. And one thing that I really appreciate about the church is sometimes I think youth ministry can become like, well, we have the adults over here and we have the young adults over here. And sometimes I wonder, like, man, when do we get to sit at the grown-up table? So one of the only things that I said when I went to the mic was kind of thanking the North American Division for this opportunity, because instead of creating like a young adult committee that we got to sit on, we got to sit at the grown-up table. We got to sit and be part of the real church, the full church and all its organization and committees and all these things. They invited us to that, so that was awesome.
That is awesome. All right, well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure.
That's it for this week. Thanks again for joining us for another AU News.
See you back in 2 weeks. God bless.